Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to talk about how I feel about Delta Force as a game after just playing against real people for the very first time. No AI, first ever experience with a Delta Force server filled with only real players, as it should be. I'm recording this after a 3-hour stream, pretty much immediately after it, so the thoughts are fresh in my head. I have a lot of thoughts, and I'll just preface this video by saying gameplay is obviously completely different. Before we get into the video, be sure to hit the like button. Thank you guys so much for that. And of course, subscribe to the channel, guys. Can't emphasize that enough. If you enjoy the content, I will be posting a ton of Delta Force content on top of Battlefield and other FPS games. So if you do like your boy, definitely subscribe to the channel. So obviously, the gameplay is completely different with only real players in a server. Things that jump out to me immediately, the map and just the flow of the game plays way slower when there are a bunch of people in the server. I anticipated this. People are going to be camping, holding angles, running around, trying to flank, and it plays like a Battlefield game, right? Everything's really dynamic and changing all the time. The gameplay you're going to see in the background is only going to be from a map called Shafted. That is the map we got to play today. I was under the impression that I was going to be able to play all of the maps in one day, but apparently the way they have it set up in this technical test is they are scheduling each map to be playable on a different day. And I want to say this before the video goes too long. Guys, they opened up the technical test for everyone, but I think there's a limited amount of slots for max player count right now. So if you do want to try this out, you can right now. Request access, go on Delta Force's website, look on Steam or whatever. Just try to get access for Delta Force if you want to play the technical test. But back to my experience playing Delta Force in a server of real people. The other thing that jumped out to me was the abilities, okay? And I understand. The operators, I could do without them as well. Now, my opinion on that is get over it. Obviously, I said that on the in yesterday's video. Get over it. They're never removing them. That's still my opinion. However, the operators' abilities are not out of question, and let me just tell you right now, a lot of them need to be changed, okay? Many changes need to happen. First of all, the recon arrow, the wall hack arrow. The wall hack ability from that arrow needs to be completely removed from the game and replaced with either a short ping on the minimap or some other form of reconnaissance spotting. Another ability that was really prevalent when I was playing was the new medic operator's ability. Her name is Toxic, and it is very toxic, okay? That's a fitting name for this character. She sends out a swarm of drones that attach themselves to you and reduce your maximum HP if they're not removed. And the only way to remove them is basically sit there for 3 seconds while your operator pulls them off. Now imagine dealing with that while you're wall hack spotted. And while you're removing those drones from your body, you can't move. You're locked in an animation. You can't fight back. Another thing that I noticed while playing, smoke is everywhere. And I'm talking about everywhere. You cannot get in a gunfight without being smoked out. There were moments where I was in smoke for more than 30 seconds. So ultimately what needs to happen is they need to reduce the amount of smoke available to all of these operators. They need to basically just keep the smoke within the medic class or maybe the assault class. Don't have it available to every single class. Make people switch class in order to fit the scenario they're playing in. In terms of what they should do to abilities, obviously it depends on an ability per ability basis, but some of them need their cooldowns addressed. Definitely increase the cooldowns. Some of them need completely different changes, like I mentioned with the recon arrow. I think that ability needs to be completely reworked. So it's definitely very complex, but I do think some of the changes, as are many changes in this game, very obvious. And that's good, because that means a lot of people will complain about them. And I think a lot of people, once they get their hands on the game, they will be echoing exactly what I'm saying in this video. Now, how about my experience in the game? Did I have fun? Was it enjoyable? Did it feel like Battlefield? And really most importantly, did it itch that Battlefield itch? And I think, yes, it did. It was enjoyable. It was absolutely more chaotic and more choke heavy. There were a ton of explosives being thrown. It really did feel at times like I was playing Operation Metro or Operation Underground. The map I was playing, again, I mentioned, was Shafted. Very CQC, very angle heavy. A lot of the map is in very, very large underground tunnels with train cars running through them. The first sector is kind of like a train station. It reminds me sort of like Manifest, but not really. Way, way less verticality. You essentially fight over two big train houses, and you try to move in between cars. For those of you that are worried this game is going to have like Call of Duty pace that I saw in some of my comments from videos weeks ago and from yesterday's video, absolutely not. When you play against a bunch of real players, in this game, the pace drastically slows down and becomes more measured. This is definitely not as fast-paced as Battlefield 2042. This isn't even as fast-paced as games like, I would say, like Battlefield 4. So for those of you that are concerned about pace, do not be concerned about pace. One other thing that I really was getting super annoyed with was the aim punch. I think the aim punch in this game is just ridiculous and needs a base level reduction by about 20 or 30%. I kind of figure out how to build weapons in this game. In fact, when the early playtests were going on, I was pretty much one of the only people putting out build videos. So I've done a lot of studying when it comes to how to reduce aim punch and all that thing. But it doesn't feel significant. I build stability, which counters aim punch, and it still feels super bad in gunfights. So I think aim punch as a whole needs to be reduced by about 20 or 30% as a baseline. Because make no mistake, there are other things that affect your gunfights and just overall visibility in gunfights in this game, such as screen shake, that unbelievable amount of smoke, getting blinded, and all sorts of other effects. I do understand that this game has an extraction shooter attached to it, so a lot of these changes, they're going to have to consider them blanket changes, and they'll have to consider whether or not they want to do those to the extraction mode as well. And I know extraction modes, they kind of do call for more realistic mechanics, but I just don't see there being any need for unbelievably irritating aim punch to the point where I just basically can't aim at people the way I want to, even when I'm building weapons to counter it. And I know I've been listing off a bunch of problems or things I want changed, but don't let that confuse you. I still think the game is extremely good. I just wanted to talk about the things that I noticed the most right after I played the game. I still had quite a bit of fun. I think this game is going to be really great to play with your friends, especially considering it's free to play. I hope the maps are a little bit better than Shafted. In my opinion, Shafted is like a 5 out of 10 map. I think it's really rough. The last sector on that map it actually sucks in my opinion. So I certainly hope the other maps are quite a bit better. But other than that, those are the things that stick out to me the most. The problems that I mentioned during the previous playtests still stand. I still think the gunplay needs to be addressed. I still think they need to implement some sort of spread system like Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 4 to just reduce engagement ranges. Maybe address some attachments being too good. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't customized the weapons too much in this current build to figure out what attachments could potentially be tweaked. In fact, I think they might have it down pat pretty well already, which is why I mentioned it's kind of the gunplay's fault before the attachment's fault. And then obviously the other problems that stand are the vehicle design. I just don't ever think they're going to get it to a point where it completely outdoes Battlefield. I think Battlefield has a firm hold on vehicle combat being Battlefield's best aspect. But other than that, I thought the game felt really good. I think the movement, quality of life fixes are extremely noticeable. I don't consider the game to be clunky at all anymore, where in the previous playtest it was very obviously clunky. I think they do need to implement some sort of system where you can customize and attach your weapons in-game. I think people are still going to complain about that. They did attempt to allow you to choose between a bunch of different loadouts, but you can only edit those loadouts in the main menu. I think people are still going to want to be able to customize their weapons while they play the game. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see if they make any further changes there. But yeah, I think the game is solid. There are some standout issues that I think are actually really obvious, and I think a lot of people will bring them up. And I think there's a good chance, given this developer's history, that they iron out a lot of this stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will obviously have way more videos on Delta Force coming up. If you enjoy the content, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and come by the streams, guys. I stream every single day at twitch.tv/Enders. Been doing it for over 6.5 years every day. Come by the streams if you've never come by them. I stream on YouTube as well as Twitch. So all the links are in the description. Join the Discord. Follow me on Twitter. And I'll see you guys in the next video.